Major, what are you doing here? I've been waiting for you in my room.
What the hell?
Who are you?
What the
Play dead
fuck?
with me. If you think you can fool me, you're sorely mistaken.
What the fuck? What's going on, everybody? And welcome to my review of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Start off, just want to say that I absolutely loved playing this game would be a massive understatement. Everything about it, from start to finish, was an absolute gem. Just to go ahead and give you a little bit of history, I was introduced to the Metal Gear series as a kid, specifically 3, by my stepdad, Biggie. If you don't know Biggie, he is a recurring character on my live streams whenever I do my monthly challenge runs. His sole purpose is to royally fuck me over. Come on, dude. Biggie, you fucking asshole, dude. Like this fucking idiot thinks this shit's fucking funny. So yeah. So, looking back, I think I was either too stupid to understand the controls of the original Snake Eater, or when I did play it, I just didn't like how the controls and the camera felt in comparison to a series that I also love, which is Kingdom Hearts. And I also like for you to keep in mind as well that the game, I was 6 years old when the game came out, and then I'm from Louisiana, specifically the Metro New Orleans area, and Hurricane Katrina hit a year after. So it really wasn't a good time to really get into the game in hindsight. But with that being said, I think my only true experience with the Metal Gear series would be Revengeance and Phantom Pain, which I did beat both. And actually, Phantom Pain I actually beat fairly recently, sometime around last year or early in the year. I beat that game. And then, just in overall Kojima experiences, I've also have beaten Death Stranding fairly recently too, which is another game that I played and I cannot wait for it to come out on PC. So, yeah, so you can you can only imagine how excited I was to experience Snake Eater for the first time in 2025 with its new fresh coat of paint. I was always super infatuated in the way that Kojima and Metal Gear was crafted and how they told stories. It was kind of, one of those things where being a young kid and thinking about Metal Gear, it was one of those things where it felt real. Like, talking about, American history and all this stuff. And in the way that it was incorporated into a video game, my imagination would just completely explode thinking about it. And I have to owe not only Kojima, but the series as a whole to the reason why I love single player experiences. I think that Kojima is literally one of the best producers and developers to ever grace the space. I mean, call it Glaze if you want. I really don't care. But I think one of the best things that Kojima does is that in the way that he tells a story, even when you get to the ultimate climax, he always finds a way to remind you as a player that these are video games. You are meant to have fun. You are meant to enjoy them. They're not meant to be taken so serious. All right, dude. Oh, all right. Okay. What the fuck? So, with the release of Delta, this is one of the best examples of that ideology. I mean, Snake Eater has such a plethora of characters and personalities. The biggest things is, it's a stealth action game. So you have, the espionage, you have the different twists, all these different ideas and technologies that are being shown, and the mix of, real life historical nonfiction and fiction interaction. Like I said before, just the way that all of these things are incorporated to tell a story, you can just literally believe that these are real events with real people fighting for these real ideas using these real technologies. I mean, this is all at the height of the Cold War. The space race. Technology was literally booming. The sciences were developing so fast and so quickly that I don't think that, we as a nation, I don't that we as a world, not only as a nation, will ever get to a point like that ever again. I personally think that you can look at the Cold War in terms of its overall mystery, similar to World War II. I mean, people to this day still find out things about World War II, and I think the Cold War is right there. So, you have all these things happening, and then you're super immersed, you're super indulged in what's happening, and then next thing you know, you're introduced to Colonel Volgan, who's a guy that he's the big bad, the main antagonist, and you're on a mission where you have to go in and save a scientist, and you're found out by Colonel Volgan, and the way that he finds out that you're an imposter is just by fucking grabbing your nutsack. And then throughout every single encounter, every single level, you can literally spend most of your time searching for hidden ducks and frogs. Oh, there you are. Holy shit, I didn't fucking see them there. I mean, it literally does not get any better than that. I myself have literally spent 90% of my time playing that game looking for the fucking frogs and ducks. Every day I'd get on stream and I would literally tell the stream, okay, this is going to be just a regular fucking day. I'm going to find every single frog and duck. Doesn't matter how it happens. I will find every single one. So, it's fucking peak. Um, I've never had so much fun playing a game that I had playing Delta. Obviously, I'm not saying that I've never had fun in any other games that I've played. I mean, I've played all kinds of games of different facets, of different genres. But this game was just a completely different type of fun. It's like comparing it to going to the library versus hanging out with the boys. I mean, you can go to the library, have fun, finding books, reading different literature, and just kind of chilling, hanging, whatever. But then like you get with the fucking boys, and it's like in that moment, everything just feels perfect. Everything feels right. You have literally no worry, and I played the game on extreme. And to me, the only section that I had trouble with in terms of actual combat difficulty was fighting the Fury. And from what I've researched, the Fury is just universally known for being a fucking idiot. Other than that, the game was not difficult. It was super forgiving, and it was just to the point. You were playing a video game. There were no, extraordinary mechanics you had to learn. You literally would just feed Snake. Your biggest mechanic was to freaking manage Snake's stamina. and getting food and this and that and the other was just so easy. If you just took the time to explore the world, it was just so easy. It was nothing. Um, the same way with Healing Snake, it was nothing. And to be honest, I really do think that it was incredibly. It was super nice on how much interaction went into feeding Snake and healing Snake. And then it's just like every time you would feed Snake, you're then blessed with Snake's approval or disapproval, whether or not he fucking liked the food. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, come on.
Ah, tasty.
Tasty. Fuck yeah, dude. The game literally just does such a good job at quite literally sucking you in and just pulling you right out with this fucking out of the box bullshit. It's so good. But I mean, that's not to say, right, going through the game's 20 years old. The original game came out in '04, and we're in 2025. So it's like the game is the game is old. And this game itself is, no disrespect to the game, but it is essentially just the 3D version of Snake Eater with a fresh coat of paint. So you could feel the age of the game, specifically with the combat and certain boss encounters, specifically when you fought Colonel Volgan. You could feel it. With how he moved and how you would have to respond and the CQC fighting and all that stuff. But other than that, everything really did feel super tight. And with it being such an old game, I would say that it is an incredible ahead of its time experience. Just based on the way that the story's told, the way that the levels are designed, the cast and the voice acting, and especially the fucking score. I literally listen to Snake Eater by itself, and I do not do that with other video games. I don't. But Snake Eater is just such a good track that I mean, shit. What else is there to say about it? So it's like to think about all the games that I've played within the last 20 years. I literally cannot help but think about how well put together this game is for being 20 fucking years old. It's just super polished. It's really intuitive in the way that it handles its mechanics, and it's just an overall unique experience. I've never experienced anything like it. And then, like I said before, the only time you can really, really, really feel its age is just sometimes the movement and then the CQC, with the Colonel Volgan fight. But that was literally 5 minutes of a fight and then you're done, right? But everything else about it just really felt incredibly tight and responsive. And then, what I was really impressed with the absolute most was the level design on every single axis, X and Y. The levels were just so well designed. I was blown away because a lot of times you play these like fuck the first Uncharted. It's literally the first game that I could think of, and this isn't even on my notes on my script that I'm reading as I do this review. But Uncharted, I tried playing Uncharted not too long ago, and I literally couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. The level design was just so pathetic in that game. That game, even though it released at a later date, feels older with this level design than Metal Gear Solid 3 does. And it's specifically the level that I was most impressed with was Krasnogorji Mountain. When you're going up and you finally have to fight the Fury, that level was so fucking good. It was like not even Phantom Pain has sections in that game outside of Ground Zeroes excuse me, that felt so meticulously handcrafted that level did. Just the hills, the trenches you would have to go through, the crawling spots you can go through to dodge the flying enemies, the boots on the ground guys, the dogs. When you would kill somebody, the vultures would literally come down and they would start eating on the body. Having to juggle all the different types of camos and whether or not you want to lethally or non-lethally kill an enemy. It was just so good. It was literally next level. It was like, even to this day, level design like that barely exists. Barely exist. Like, and I will say it again. The game is 20 years old, and developers today still struggle with building a level like that, or building levels like that, and just building experiences to even come relatively close to what you would feel in these levels that Snake Eater and Delta presented. Um, and then take that a step further to get even deeper into that thought. It's very rare to even come across levels with AAA standards that even feel as handcrafted that Snake Eater does. The big thing right now is the use of AI and how that tool can help developers build handcrafted worlds. Um, Specifically with the use of Unreal Engine 5, which obviously this game is using Unreal Engine 5, but a lot of AAA developers nowadays are just essentially feels like they just use the same assets, just in a different art style. And you can get into nitty gritty. Well, it's just the same thing with Snake Eater 2, but it's the overall design aspect on the worlds themselves and how you navigate through them. I think a lot of games these days are missing that, and I really do hope that Snake Eater does light that fire in the creative minds of some of these studios. So, you know, moving on from level design ultimately leads me into character design, the voice acting, and just overall the interaction with characters. Another aspect that is a big complaint with AAA studios today is you have you have games that have multiple characters, but they don't the interaction between them just don't feel organic. And I think that's what also makes Snake Eater feel so special, is because all the characters feel that they are literally in the same room with each other in recording, not just reading off of a script, and then it's up to the developers and the producers just to smack them together and make them feel cohesive. Um, it was just such a nice breath of fresh air to feel that in a video game. I feel like that's one of the also special things with Death Stranding as well. Is people say Kojima just builds movies, which is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing, because that's what if that is what it takes to build a cohesive story for players to get involved in, then I think games like Death Stranding and Snake Eater nail it on the head every time, because it is a nice mix of lore, watching a cutscene, and then gameplay. And a lot of times, what happens with developers nowadays is that their gameplay and their overall game design is just so poor that the overall voice acting and interaction with the characters, both in game and out, just do not mesh well. And you can feel that in a lot of AAA games nowadays too. So it's like, one instance was, when you first meet Eva, besides Snake, you know, mentioning or realizing that he's literally in a room with a naked bombshell, the guy is you can feel this guy just not wanting to even, realize or interact with that. But then he goes on to talk about how shaving down his freaking hand grip on his pistol allows for better CQC, and he's more interested in talking about how Eva's pistol is a Chinese pistol, but it's also got some German aspects to it as well. Like, what the fuck?
Of the lab.
Got it.
And just what are you doing there?
In close-range combat, a knife can sometimes be more useful than a gun. By doing this, I'll be able to hold a knife at the same time and still keep the gun steady. That way, I can instantly switch between a gun battle and a knife fight. Right, let's get going.
And, you know, and these are moments in these games with how these characters interact that just really make you, you know, once again realize, like, it's a game. It's just not meant to be taken seriously. And it's just, you know, it just feels like everyone is just having so much fun that it is literally just a joy to see them on screen. You know, you have Ocelot, you know, literally ore farming for Snake, whom I would consider to be Ocelot's secret lover.
Huh. You're not the boss, are you?
He's about to do the thing. Oh my god, dude. This shit is so fucking ridiculous.
Crew operatives!
You know, every single time he's on screen, he's got to flip his gun to prove some type of point to Snake, and then it's just this running bit that Snake always gets over on him every single time.
Us. It's just you and me. No one to get in our way. Ocelots are proud creatures. They prefer to hunt alone.
All right, man.
12 shots. This time I've got 12 shots.
And it's just fun. It's literally just like watching fun TV. And I think that's what makes those moments really special. And, you know, going even further with its characters, I wasn't expecting the boss fights to be as enjoyable as they were. And I was massively proven wrong when I started when I went against, you know, the first boss with Ocelot. You know, they treated it as a Western. I mean, yeah, the two guys are literally separated by a gorge, and you see all these freaking tumbleweeds flying through, the music playing, overall Ocelot's attitude, you know, letting him shoot in, and he goes to a fucking 30-second cutscene of him reloading every single bullet one by one, doing this fucking stupid ass animation. It's
Not bad. I've never felt the tension like this before. That's different than simply changing the clip. This reload time is exhilarating. Disappointing.
it was just, I was like, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so fucking funny. It was just a nice breath of fresh air to, you know, fight a boss, but not feel like I was literally gonna put myself through fucking hell. And then like the game has like 8 or 9 bosses, I think, probably more than I don't have it on the top of my head right now, but each boss felt uniquely different in its own respective right and lane. You have the pain with his bees in a cave, and you would have to dive underneath to dodge the bees. You have the fear in the forest where he's invisible and he's like this, spider monkey because his limb, because I think his lore said he's like double jointed in some kind of way. And then he uses invisible technology to hide himself. And then you have to like navigate all these different traps that you've set to not harm yourself. You have the end, who's this fucking 100+ year old dude who's literally referred to as the father of modern sniping. And the guy could literally photosynthesize with the plants and the wildlife around him in the forest, which is the reason why he lives so long. And then you have the sorrow in the river where, you're knee deep and you're wading through water and it's raining, and, the whole thing is supposed to be taken as a metaphor for like the sadness and the tears of the people that you've killed to make you feel some type of guilt. It was just, everything was just so uniquely designed and everything was just so different. It was like, holy shit. Nothing could prepare me for the encounters. I've seen them on videos. I see the memes. I know all the memes, right? I mean, Snake Eater's huge, but I never experienced them. And that in itself was just next level for me. Games, like I've said this before, games nowadays don't even give their boss fights that same treatment of being just so uniquely different. Other than certain games, such as Elden Ring with its main roster of bosses. Kazan specifically does a very good job at treating its bosses, its main line of bosses, not its side bosses. Its main line of bosses to be completely different and separated in their own lanes when it comes to design. So, and then, obviously nothing could also prepare me that every single boss just literally combust like a SpongeBob SquarePants bit. And then, for those who want to know, my favorite fight personally was the end. It was the way that the fight itself was actually encompassed with an interactable environment, and the way that you have to use these different camos and tools, specifically the thermal, and the way that you can actually engage with the boss itself, whether it's just sniping him in the fucking face, sneaking up on him and getting a drop on him, shaking him down for extra loot. There was a moment where I literally snuck up on him and just planted C4 and just blew him up. No. This guy spawn camping me. Dude, you are so dumb, dude. You are so dumb. Sure. Sure, dude.
This. Try this on for size.
Oh, come on, dude. It was the one that just felt the most unique and mechanically interactive compared to the others. I really did find it to be really, 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 really cool. And then you have the Easter egg where you can literally just wait until the guy just dies.
Major, I found the end. He's dead.
What the hell happened?
Maybe it was from old age.
You mean he kicked the bucket in the middle of a battle?
Maybe.
Well, Snake, the victory is yours.
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean?
It was his dying wish to fight me, but I disappointed him.
Snake, listen to yourself. This is a mission. It's not a game, it's not a sport. You think you're competing for the gold at Tokyo or something?
I guess you're right.
Just focus on completing the mission.
Yes, sir.
And I did do that. Just increase your time by like a year, and then you go back and he's just dead. So yeah, it was really neat. It was really really cool. Um, you know, this is my first experience of Snake Eater from start to finish, and I can comfortably say that this is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had in my life. I said at the beginning, I absolutely loved this game. I love Kojima, and I really do think that he did a very good job at creating a series of games that not only, sucks the gamer in, the player in, to a uniquely crafted world of just all kinds of different characters with fictional, non-fictional events, and just all these different, climactic moments, and then ultimately just delights the player and just these super funny moments or heartfelt moments that's just like, dude, this is a game. Loosen up. Have fun with it. And I really do think a lot of AAA games do forget that. I think the industry ultimately lost the plot of what a video game is supposed to do, and that's just to ultimately bring joy and fun to the gamer, to the player. I mean, you can tell a serious story that includes non-fictional material, but you should always remind the player in some facet that you're playing a game. This is a game, and there's a lot of controversy nowadays with how much political material and pieces are being dumped into the games, and and ultimately the game's just also not being fun to play. And I really hope that Snake Eater does remind the industry that you can do it. And I mean, shit, fucking. I just don't know what else to say about that. I mean, I could go on and on, but I just, the point is just I've never laughed at a game so much that has included non-fictional and fictional material in it, and I just had so much fun, and I literally just cannot wait what Kojima has in store. I mean, the guy is literally riding on so much hype with his new announcements, Fizzit and OD. And there's a lot of pressure on the guy to scan a fucking real ghost. So hopefully, Kojima might be the first game developer to have a real ghost in a horror game. We shall see. But just bring this to the end. The game is an obvious 10 out of 10. Every single facet and type of gamer can enjoy, and I think they will find enjoyment in this game. I did have a friend that said that they dropped it because it was boring, but it's literally like that meme of the guy who's mining for the rock and just walking out right before it gets to diamonds. Within the first 10 minutes, Snake does the world's first halo jump. He flips around for absolutely no beneficial reason other than the farm clips. I think if you can't get behind that, then fuck. I think you're shit out of luck, to be honest. In terms of price, The game's $70, I think. I do think that is kind of steep for an overall remake, especially a 20-year-old remake. I would say to wait for a possible $40 to $50 tag on sale. Honestly, to me, $70 is worth it. $70 is worth playing the Snake versus Monkey game mode by itself. I mean, shit. What other game do you know outside of freaking Ape Escape is having you go around as the world's greatest soldier, going around and hunting monkeys and speedrunning it? I clocked in around 20 hours in the game, and I found around 50% of the frogs and ducks. Plus, I was on extreme difficulty, and plus I did all the snake and monkey levels. So if you're one of the ones that value a game's price based on the amount of hours you can get, then I would definitely say wait until you get an even more heftier sale. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much else that I can go through the game, to be honest. I think a lot of people know what the game's about, know what it entails. I just wanted to share my first experience of the game, because I've never truly played it before. But I hope you've all came, and I appreciate anybody supporting my review. Just please leave a like and subscribe for all my future reviews. I think my next full story game is going to be Chronos: The New Dawn. I've never played a Bloober game, and for the month of October, I'm going to be focusing more on the spooky, scary stuff. So, yeah. Thank you for coming by, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.